Mastery Monday, a mini episode that the goal is really to leave you with some tangible tips and takeaways and one message that will light up your week, remind you that you're not alone, give you some strength, give you some courage, or simply add one extra layer of mastery into your life, into your wellness, and into your overall week ahead. Today, I wanted to focus on a quote and dive a little deeper into it because I really believe that within this quote, there is so much freedom, but also recognition. I'll explain what I mean by that. The quote is, "Idle hands are a devil's playground." This is a quote we've likely heard before. It's not about necessarily, I'm not saying it's anything necessarily biblical. I'm using it on a broader perspective. But the quote is, "Idle hands are the devil's playground." And I've been having conversations with people recently, and this past week's episode has been about community, connection, staying present with other people, and overall building interpersonal relationships. The quote, "Idle hands are a devil's playground," to me, when I hear it, it's not simply, if you're not always busy, or if you have any free time, you're going to default to do bad things. It more so means, to me, idle means stationary, not progressing, not building. And to me, idle it feels lonely. That word itself feels solitary. Something that I've been thinking a lot about is how hard habits that we have a tough time quitting, are typically tougher when we are in isolation. When we find ourselves in isolation, think COVID, perhaps. I know a while ago I had someone on and we talked about mommy alcohol culture and how through COVID there were lonely moments. There was a lot of time of, even if she was around people, still felt extremely isolated. That was a time when her drinking got to be really, really ramped up. There were also people that I've spoken to who said in extended periods of time, they lived alone, work remote, don't have a pet, they're not in a relationship currently, they're not around friends or family, and they mentioned binge eating habits came rearing their ugly heads. Also, not to mention, I know this is a pretty PG-13, PG rated podcast, but porn, it's something that has been a bigger conversation over the past few years, that isolation leads to these types of instant gratification. And when we are feeding ourselves with that instant gratification, whether it is food, porn, all alcohol, all of these different things, we tend to develop habits that lead us farther away from people and relationships. And by leading us farther away from relationships and connection with others, we don't thrive as our greatest self. And I'm not saying that every group of friends that you're going to be around or people that you're going to be around are going to be positive influences, but there is something to the fact that when they say it takes a village, it really does. This is a time in our life, a time in the world where isolation and doing things solo, individual gain is huge. It's not, I personally don't believe it's best, though. The world will thrive in so many more amazing ways if we have personal connection. If we continue to go down this route, then it does scare me a little bit for the future. I don't want to tangent for too long, but something that's really been hard on my heart has just been seeing this phrase of hard habits love isolation. And if you are someone who is struggling with habits, struggling with anything, see where you can seek community Find where you can reach out to friends, reach out to even one person, even if it's joining a Facebook group or something where you feel you're not alone. And it's going to take a little work, but if you do find yourself being driven to be more and more and more and more isolated, not just taking a break if you're introverted, but more and more isolated, as in all you are doing is thinking about yourself and wanting to be away from other people who challenge the negative thoughts that you are having. Don't let yourself go too deep down that hole. Idle hands are a devil's playground. Still take your breaks, take your rest. However, observe your own patterns. If there's something you want to change and you know that it's leading you towards more isolation, how can you seek connection with others, whether it's animals, whether it's volunteer work, a community group, a group of friends that you haven't talked to in a while, family, your church, whoever it is. That was heavy on my heart, and not even heavy on my heart. That was something on my heart that I hope, whether it is something you needed to hear today, I believe that even if it doesn't directly impact you, it could directly impact others. If you know someone, you're observing these patterns in other people, reach out. It's not that hard. Connection feels good. We need it to survive, point blank. Hard habits, bad habits, love isolation. I hope this was helpful. Not even helpful, but I hope we're on the same page here and we understand these things, and maybe this was a way that you are able to put words to concerns or thoughts or feelings that you've had in the past and simply haven't had the vocabulary for. Well, enjoy this episode of Mastery Monday, and I'm so excited for this week's episode to come out. I know you all will love it, and I will talk to you next Monday.